Hello, mathematicians. I hope that you are enjoying these videos. So today we're going to get into our third lesson, lessons 32 and 33. The teaching point today is mathematicians subtract mixed numbers from mixed numbers by drawing models and regrouping. So our goal for today is we want to subtract mixed numbers. We want to be able to convert improper fractions improper fractions to mixed numbers and use models to represent our thinking. Some vocabulary that we want to keep in mind include whole numbers, fractions greater than 1, which is also called an improper fraction, mixed numbers, which is a whole number and a mixed number together, denominator, numerator, like denominators, fraction, and minuend and subtrahend, which are some vocabulary that I introduced you to at the beginning of the school year when we were doing a lot of subtraction within 1 million. So the minuend is the number that we are subtracting from, and the subtrahend is the number that we are subtracting. And of course, the difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So let's get right into the first anchor problem. All right, so anchor problem number 1, we have an expression and it says 4 1/5 minus 3/5. So you want to think first, do we have enough fifths in the minuend to subtract the 3/5? So I did this work here in my notebook, which is where you're going to be doing all of your work as well, okay? So the first thing we want to think of are there enough fifths? So we do not have enough fifths in the minuend, and so we have to regroup. Now, in order to do this work, we have to first regroup from the whole number. So I'm bringing my whole number down of 4, and I'm subtracting 1 whole from the 4, and that gives me 3. Then what I need to do is I'm going to convert my fraction of 1 to a fraction. So it's 4 minus 5/5, because we know when the numerator and the denominator are the same, it is equivalent to 1. And so now we have a new whole number of 3. The next step is to add the fraction 1 to the fraction from the original minuend, which was 1/5. So I'm adding the 5/5 plus 1/5, and so now I have my new fraction of 6/5. So now we know that 4 1/5 is equivalent to 3 6/5. So I'm representing my mixed number to show the regrouping. Now I have enough fifths to subtract 3/5 from the 6/5. And my answer of 3 6/5 minus 3/5 is equal to 3 3/5. I also wanted to show you how I represented this using a visual model. And so I created I represented 4 1/5, and then I shaded it in, and then I crossed out 3/5 to show what we were subtracting, to represent the same expression that we originally had of 3 6/5 minus 3/5, or you can say 4 1/5 minus 3/5. All right, so let's look at anchor problem number 2. So anchor problem number 2 says 4 3/8 minus 2 5/8. So this one is a little bit different because this one is a mixed number subtracting from a mixed number, as opposed to just a fraction subtracting from a mixed number. Okay, so first what I did is I took notice to my minuend, and I noticed that the numerator in the minuend of this mixed number is not enough to subtract the subtrahend. So I'm going to regroup. When I regroup, I'm going to first regroup from my whole number. I subtract 1 from my whole number of 4, which gives me 3. I convert the 1 that I subtracted into a fraction. So it's 4 minus 8/8, which is equal to 3. Then I'm going to add the original Mayuan that I had from the original expression, and I'm going to add that to the 8 over 8, which I got from my whole number, which is what I regrouped. So now I have a new fraction of 11 over 8, which is an improper fraction, and that's totally fine. So now now that I know that 4 and 3/8 is also equivalent to 3 and 11/8, I'm going to do my subtraction, which is at 3 and 11/8 minus 2 and 5/8, which is equal to 1 and 6/8. So let's look at our error analysis now. In our error analysis, we have an expression that the student solved, and the expression was a 3 and 3/5 minus 1 and 4/5, and the answer that the student got was 2 and 1/5. So we know that it's an error analysis, so something is wrong here. The answer is incorrect. So the first thing I always say is solve the problem yourself. So I want you to solve the problem yourself before you even continue with this video. So take a pause here, solve it yourself. And then I want you to press play, and then I want you to take a look at what I did. So I went ahead and I solved the problem myself. And in solving the problem myself, I took notice that I needed to regroup because of my Mayuan is the numerator of my Mayuan is smaller than the numerator in my subtrahend. So I subtract by regrouping. I'm subtracting 1 from the 3. I have 2. I converted the 1 that I regrouped into a fraction of 5 over 5. I added this fraction to the original fraction that I had in my Mayuan, and now I have a fraction of 8/8. So now I can actually do the math of doing the subtraction problem, because now my numerator in my Mayuan is large enough to subtract 4. And then I got the answer of 1 and 4/5. So I first subtracted the whole numbers. 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. And then I subtracted the fractions of 8 over 5 minus 4/5, which gives me 4/5. So my answer is 4/5. So now I'm going to compare my answer to what the student had. And I'm taking notice that, this student seemed to have, he didn't regroup. So what this student did, they subtracted the whole numbers, and then it seems like they worked backwards. They subtracted 3/5 from 4/5 as opposed to the other way around. And so we want to keep these errors in mind so we don't make these same mistakes, okay? So I want you to try this work on your own today. What you're going to do is I want you to first set a timer. We want to set a timer for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then if you have your packet, I want you to practice lessons 32 and 33 in your packet. You also have the option to practice on Zearn by logging into your Zearn account and completing the independent practice there. I want you to keep in mind, in order to achieve your goal of subtracting these mixed numbers, I want you to use your tools. I want you to reach out to peers to discuss over the phone. You can always reach out to me. I'm always available during the hours of 8:20 a.m. and 3 p.m. I also want you to self-assess your work. Always self-assess your work. Ask yourself, what did you do well and what's something you can work on? After you've done this, I want you to make certain that you complete the exit ticket. The exit ticket, there's going to be a link for the exit ticket inside the assignment of Google Classroom. So I want you to make certain that you're completing that. Your teachers will grade that and send you back your grades. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Have a great day.